When you hear the term climate change, you often think of this. The climate crisis is one of the biggest things affecting humanity today, causing extreme weather changes to our environment around us and triggering the Anthropocene epoch. But what human activities has humanity been carrying out to cause these severe changes, and what are their effects? Through the extraction and burning of fossil fuels, we have released millions of tons of excess greenhouse gases into our atmosphere, which have in turn created a thick blanket of pollution around the Earth, which traps excess heat from the sun, which otherwise would have been released and reflected back into space. The IPCC states that the blanket of greenhouse gases has already caused approximately a 1.1 degree increase in global temperatures. This has off-put the delicate balance of eco and weather systems, making extreme weather events more frequent globally. For example, the wildfires we witnessed in Greece in 2023. Climate scientists predict that if we don't make drastic changes by lowering our global greenhouse gas emissions, we could see up to a 4.8 degrees Celsius increase in temperatures from our current levels by 2100. Which would have catastrophic outcomes. These outcomes would include sea levels rising through the melting of our polar ice caps due to global warming, making many coastal areas uninhabitable, such as much of Florida in the US. An increase in food insecurity due to famines becoming more frequent, due to drought and excess desertification, and the potential for entire ecosystems to collapse and go extinct due to extreme weather changes in global weather patterns. If we continue with our current climate policies, scientists predict a 2.5 to 2.9 degree increase in global temperature levels by 2100. However, if all countries adopted new, more severe policies, we could see that be reduced to only a 2.1 degree increase. This would lead to a reduced amount of global repercussions from our environmentally harmful activities. Presumably, if you are watching this video, you are an environmentally conscious person, so you may be asking yourself, what are some ways that we can help reduce our carbon emissions on an individual level? As we live in a consumerism-driven capitalist society, it seems that we are always being presented with the new it's thing to be buying or doing, but we should all collectively be moving away from this overemphasis on material goods to a post-consumerist society. Studies have shown that some of the most impactful ways of cutting down our carbon footprint is through making lifestyle changes to our diet, travel methods, and clothing choices. Fast fashion is a term used to describe clothing that has been cheaply made in sweatshops with a minimal turnaround rate between designers actually designing the clothes and the clothes being in the consumer's hands. Due to the rushed process of making these clothes and the main goal being maximum profits for the clothing company's owners, the manufacturing of these clothes are often outsourced to countries with lenient environmental laws, often located in the global south, formerly known as third world countries, whereby the factories can get away with dumping harmful toxins and chemicals into the surrounding landscape of the factories. This way, the factory owners no longer have to pay excess costs of safely disposing of the toxins and byproducts created in the clothing manufacturing process. They also have access to cheap labour, making them able to take advantage of poor factory workers by making them work excess hours for below minimum wage. These policies allow for fast fashion brands such as Shein, Pretty Little Thing and H&M to supply your clothes for cheap prices. These companies then have to ship the clothes thousands of miles away to be sold to you, increasing our carbon footprints. While we appreciate swapping to sustainable fashion isn't always financially plausible for people, we encourage you to try engage in a more cyclical fashion cycle. The next time you need new clothes for special events, ask yourself, could you borrow an item off a friend instead of buying a new one? When buying new clothes, consider shopping second-hand. In recent years, many luxury vintage shops have opened up around Dublin, providing you with a more sustainable option when getting new clothes. Or for a cheaper alternative, consider looking in local charity shops. In terms of travel, it has been shown time and time again that plane journeys and car journeys are some of the biggest contributors of excess CO2 to our atmosphere. When commuting to work or college, consider using public transport or cycling when possible. And when considering booking your next holiday, maybe consider booking a staycation in Ireland instead of going abroad, where are many rustic coasts to explore and rich heritage. Alternatively, investigate different ways of going abroad, perhaps via boat or train to try save as much CO2 as possible. Perhaps one of the most drastic lifestyle changes you can do to lower your CO2 emissions also happens to be the most impactful. Consider taking up a plant-based diet or even a partially plant-based diet. I know for some of you, alarm bells may be ringing at this point, but hear me out, okay? Studies have shown that if you're vegan or vegetarian, it cuts your CO2 emissions significantly and can can have a heap of other health benefits for you, including lowering your risk of heart disease and some forms of cancer. Even if you aren't willing to fully commit to a meat-free or animal product-free diet, eating just a few plant-based meals during the week can help decrease your CO2 emissions. The topic of environmentalism has been a hotly discussed topic amongst youth culture in recent years, as we become more conscious as a population of our impacts on the environment and the climate. This has led to new collective action projects in recent years, such as There Is No Planet B, climate activists such as Greta Thunberg emerging, as well as the emergence of influencers promoting sustainable living, as in the case of Dublin-based Keelan Moncrief. While we cannot completely eradicate climate change and the Anthropocene that we as a species have created, we can help lessen the impacts of it if we collectively band together as a species and become more conscious of our habits and their influences on the world around us. And each small decision adds up.